Hi everyone, welcome back to Javatechie. In this video, we'll deep dive into the latest features and enhancement of Spring 6.1 REST client, and we'll also discover how to simplify RESTful API calls, handle response like a pro, and harness the full potential of this powerful module. Okay? Alright. For your information, Spring Framework 6.1 has introduced the new REST client, which is a modern and efficient HTTP client that is easy to use and extensible. With REST client, you can make HTTP requests with a concise and fluent API, and it is also compatible with Spring Webflows, so you can use the same client in both blocking and reactive application like the way we used in web client. Okay. Now if you'll check the evolution of this REST client, 14 years ago we have something called REST template through which we can consume the API over the HTTP. Then in Spring Framework 5 they have introduced the web client, and then in Spring 6.1 they have introduced the REST client who also use the feature of REST template like message converters, request factories, interceptor, and other underlying component of REST template. So if you are using this REST client, then the first advantages you will get that you can perform synchronous and asynchronous API call using this REST client. And apart from that, the next advantages using REST client, you can also get couple of features from the REST template to perform the API call. That's awesome, isn't it? So let's make our hands dirty with REST client and take our projects to the next level. Okay. So without any further delay, let's get started. So to demonstrate these REST client features and its best practices, we need some API to consume, or we need some web service to consume, right? So for that, what I have done, I take the reference of an existing project where I have exposed couple of endpoint. So you can see here post mapping who will add the product to the DV, and I have the get endpoint who will fetch all the product from the DV, and this get product by ID will fetch single product from the DV. Then this put mapping will update the product in the DV, and delete mapping will remove the object from the DV. Okay, I have all the CRUD specific endpoint already. I am exposing from this Spring Data API, or you can say product hyphen service application. Okay, now this product hyphen service application will act as a producer. Now I need to write a client service using the REST client. So before we writing the client service, first let's verify whether all the endpoint is working here or not. Okay, go to the controller again and just verify the endpoint and trigger from the postman. So I just want to add a product. So I'll go to the postman, and this is the product I want to add. The endpoint is this, correct? Now let me send the request. The record inserted with the ID 5. Now if I'll go and validate in my DV, the fifth record is inserted just now. Okay, now let's verify get all the products. So I'll just change it to the get and trigger it. We are getting all the 5 record present in the DV. Now I want to filter specific product. Let's say the fifth one which we just inserted. Let's remove this, send the request. We are getting the result. Now let's say I want to update this particular product, which is HTTP method type is put, add the request, remove the ID from here, and just give the ID here. What I want to update, let's say the price 17990. Now let me send the request. This is updated. We'll validate in the DV. Can you see here? It's updated. Now let's say I just want to delete some record. Let's say this third object I want to delete. So I just need to pass the ID which I want to delete. Just give here delete, remove this, send the request. The record is deleted. Now if I'll refresh in my DV, can you see here I have only 4 record. Now all the HTTP method defined in the producer application, which is product service, is working as expected. right? Now I need to consume these 4 crowd API from the client application. So for that, what I'll do, simply I will start creating a new project to just demonstrate the REST client. So I'll just create a new project, click on next, then define all the required field, group ID, artifact ID, everything. So once you fill, then click on next. Now here, let me add the dependency web, Spring Web, and also I want Lombok dependency. These are the two dependency I need. Now make sure you need to choose the Spring Boot version as 3.2.0 because it internally use Spring 6.1. So just click on that. Anything else? No, right? Correct. Now click on next. Click on finish. It seems there is some error. So go to the form.xml 3.2.0 m2, correct, right? So yeah, just change it to hyphen. Now just update your project. That is what some issue with the ID, but if you'll try with the Spring initializer, you'll get the correct version. Close it. Now let's go to the src and let's create couple of packages. I'll just create a package, let's say something like client and service, okay, or client or controller. Now from this application, we are going to consume the product service. So for that, let me create a client class. I'll name the class name something like product service client. Then simply annotate here @service. Then simply just inject the REST client because using this REST client only, we want to consume the API. So make sure to import it from the correct package org.springframework.web.client REST client. So you can directly auto add it, but I just want to build this REST client object by providing the base URL and all. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll just define the default constructor public product service client. Then here what I'll do, REST client, I just want to build it. REST client dot builder dot build. Fine. So here I just want to specify what is the base URL so that I no need to specify in each and every API call. So I'll just define base URL is, what is the base URL we want to consume? This, right? Localhost 9191 slash products. Just define that. That's it. Let me define this final. Now let's start writing the method to consume the API. So the first API I want to consume, that is add a product. So I want to consume this specific endpoint in my client service. So for that I need to pass the product object, right? So let me copy this product object. I'll copy directly this particular class. Then just quickly create a package here. Now it contains couple of entity or generated value. These are the annotation, right? So these are not required because in this particular application I just want to use this DTO to send as a request. So I'll remove everything. That's it. Just go to the client and let me write a method public who will return me the product object. So I'll just name it save product or save new product. Now here I need to call the product service, which is my producer, to just give this object to save in their DB. Okay, simply I'm just consuming the API. That is just straightforward. So for that simply I'll use return REST client. Which type of HTTP method is this? Post. Then what is the URI? So there is no URI. So what I can do, I'll copy this. I'll give this as a base URL. Then this is my URL to call the post API. That's fine. Then we just need to define what is the content type, which is application slash JSON, right? Then what is the input you want to give, which is nothing your body, I mean the request payload, that is product. Then retrieve, once you give that input, then what you are expecting as a return type. So the return type body is nothing our product dot class. What is the error here? Okay, this should be the content type. Okay, it required the media type, but we are giving the string. That's fine. You can change it to the media type application underscore JSON. That's it. Okay, just add this. So see here how it is easily readable. I mean, all the overloaded method you are just using as a method chaining. I mean, this is easily readable, isn't it? So you are giving which type of method you want to access, what is the URI to access that method, what is the content type, what is the input you are giving, and what you are retrieving that particular class type. Fine. Now let me write the endpoint, or let me write the consumer method for get all the product. So I'll just define public who will return me the list of product, then get all the products. Simple, just use return REST client. Then what is the method type? HTTP method type is get. Then what is the URI? Same slash products. Then we don't want any body because this is the get method. There should not be any request body. Now I want to retrieve which type of object, that is body. You can define which type of object it will return. So it will return the array of product or list of product. So what I'll do, I'll just define new parameterized type reference. You can define the object what you are expecting. I'm just expecting list of product. So this is the abstract class. We cannot instantiate it. That's it. Okay. Now this looks good. Now let's write the endpoint to get a, or just define the consumer to get a single product by ID. So let's say public will return me the product object. Just give the ID. So you can define return REST client dot HTTP method type is get. Then what is the URI? Slash products slash find. Then what is the input? ID. Then again this is the get method. There is no request body. Just define what you want to retrieve. Of type body. Now this will give the single object. So you no need to define the parameterized type reference. So you can simply define that I need to retrieve product type of response. That's it. Okay. Now again let's write the consumer method for update product. So I'll just define public. Now what is the input you need to give for update product? I mean the same thing. Okay, just compare how you are exposing your endpoint. So similar structure, you need to just give the information. I mean you just need to pass the correct input or payload. Okay, so you are giving your ID and request object. So just go to your consumer. Now just give that this is what the input and what you want to pass product object. Now simply you can just define return REST client. Which type of HTTP method is this? Put. Now what is the URI to consume that particular method? Slash products slash ID. What is the ID? This is what the ID I am giving as an input. Fine. Next, since this is the put method and we are giving the request body, what you can do, I will just copy paste this. Okay, because I need to specify the content type and what input I am giving and what I am expecting. This is the standard pattern in REST client. Okay, so you can just give those information. All good. Now let's write for the last endpoint to delete a product public. Now the input you need to give ID. Then simply you can use REST client. HTTP method type is delete. What is the URI? URI is slash products slash id. Correct. Give the id which I want to pass as a input. Then after just passing the URI, you can just use retrieve because it won't return anything, right? So you can define to bodiless entity. See, the method name itself self-explanatory that it won't return anything. So simply I will just add my own return statement, record, or just product. All good. Now let's write a controller method to just call these methods, okay, which is defined in my client service. So what I'll do, I'll just create a class here, product client controller. I'll just define here at the rate rest controller. Then I'll just define the root URL, request mapping, product hyphen client, something I'm giving unique to identify, okay, that I'm calling from the client. Okay, now I'll just inject the product service client. Now then I need to call each and every method. Okay, so to save our time, what I'll do, I'll just copy the same signature, only will change the method call. Just paste here. We are not going to use the REST client in this controller class, rather we just need to call the client method. Okay, so I'll just use client, what is that, service client, right? Service client dot save new product. Okay, this is simple. I mean, we can write it from the scratch, but many times we have done this CRUD kind of operation, okay, by defining multiple HTTP method. So I'll just use this return service client dot get all products. Just define service client dot get product, give the id, service client dot update the product, give the id and product object. This is simple. Just return service client dot delete the product, just give the input. Now you just need to define all the required annotation. So this is my post method. I mean, you can call those methods from the main method directly, but I am just defining the other endpoints to just identify, okay, this is how I am calling from the client and it will hit my producer application or the producer web services and will store the object to the DB. Fine. So I'll just define here slash products or anything you can define as a URL. Okay, so fine, what you can do, let's not define anything here since we have only 4 method. I'll just define in the root level itself. Now just define post mapping, just define request body since this is the input. Now this is get mapping, this is also get mapping, and since I have only one input, I can define the path variable and I can define the id here which I want to pass as a input. Fine. Now this is put mapping, define the id, define the path variable here and just define the request body. Now this is delete, just define path variable, just define your delete mapping. That's it. Okay, now once I will consume this, I mean once I will execute this method, what it will do, it will go to the client application, I mean the client service what I have defined. Then from there it will trigger the REST API call to this specific endpoint with this particular URL, which is nothing our this particular product service. Okay, this one, it will trigger directly to this particular method. So better I will just add a breakpoint and I will show you in the debug mode. So I will also add in the service. We'll do debugging for one method, then we'll simply execute other. Just go to the client app. I just want to add here. Okay, we already added it. Now just go to the controller. Fine, we already added it. Now just go to the main class and start it in the debug mode. Similarly, let me go to the producer app. I will also start this in the debug mode. So the producer app up and running on port 9191. Can you see here? Now let's verify the client app. Client app is also running on port 8080, which is the default one. That's fine. So we'll just trigger this particular 8080. So what I will do, I will go to the controller class, will verify the URL. Let me take this. I will go here. I will just check for the post request. I will just copy paste this content. Okay, that's it. I will just duplicate this tab. Then I will just change the URL 8080 slash product hyphen client, then products. This is the URL, right? And the input I want to give something like book 229. So this is the request I will trigger from my client. Now let me trigger this request. Request came to my client application, the endpoint what I have defined. From here it will go to the service. Okay, that is what I have just defined here. Now it came to the product service client. Can you see here? This is the client it came. Now if you will scroll down, just continue the breakpoint. This is the URL it will trigger. Just continue. Now it came to the producer application. Can you see here? We are in the product service. It means from the client we are simply consuming the API from this product service. That is the reason the request came here. Can you see here? I'll just simply skip it for now. I'll just pass it. It came to the service of this product service. Now just execute it. Save the product. Now what is the result we get? We got the ID as 6, which is the new record, and this is the record. If we'll go and verify in the DB, if I'll refresh it, I can see the record which I just inserted. ID 6. This is what the description we have added. Name and price and product type. So from the client app, I'm able to consume my service and I'm able to insert the record. Okay. Now let's quickly test other endpoint. So what I'll do, I'll just mute the breakpoint for now. So now I just want to get all the products from my client app. So I'll just change the URL get. Let's remove everything. It should give me the 6 product object. Let's run it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Right? Whatever there in our DB, we can able to see as a response. Now what I'll do, I'll just copy this, or I can simply do I want to fetch a single product which is ID 6. Okay, these results we are getting from the client app. Client app will talk to the producer app through the REST client, because if you observe here, the port we are giving 8080 and this is the URL of my client application. Fine. Now I will copy this. I want to execute the put. So what I'll do, I'll just change the body. Now send the request. Okay, I need to update something, right? Let's say 799. We'll validate whether it is updating in DB or not. Send the request. We got the response. Let's cross verify in the DB. Can you see here? It is able to update in the DB. Fine. Now let's try the delete. I want to delete the same record. Product removed 6. Validate in the DB. Only we have 4 object. 1, 2, 4, 5. 6 and 3 we already deleted. Okay. So this is how you can consume the web services, which is the REST web services, using the REST client. And the advantages of using REST client here, it is easily readable, and the overloaded method we are just arranging in the method chaining order. Okay. Apart from that, you can also achieve the feature of REST template, and you can perform both synchronous and asynchronous. For now we have just performed the synchronous because my producer application written in the traditional web MVC. If I will write it in the web flux, still I have option to use the REST client to consume the endpoint. Okay, so just try playing with this REST client object, and do let me know in a comment section if you have any doubts or if you explore any other features of REST client. That's all about this particular video, guys. Thanks for watching this video. Meet you soon with a new concept.